right. Welcome to the Superhero's Journey, a podcast where we talk mainly about superhero movies and TV shows with a bit of Star Wars and other things in the genre. My name is Carl Freemerman, and with me is my co-host, Brian Shores. You can find us on Twitter at Superhero Journey. That's no E in super. And write to us at the Superhero's Journey at gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive. And as always, we'll be talking about news stories of the week and a spoiler-filled discussion of the TV shows we watch at the end of the podcast. You have been warned. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well.
All right.
All right.
Let's see. Where do we want to start? I have a few news things that I wrote down
All right.
that I told you I did not tell you about.
That's true. I'm completely in the dark with the exception of whatever I've probably gleaned from Twitter, but the topics have not been shared for my true reactions.
Let's hope you like them, or maybe have nothing to say, and this will be really boring.
Yeah, just awkward silence for the next half hour.
So the first topic I have here is not actually a superhero movie. Ironically, being this is episode 0, well, which I forgot to mention. This is episode 0. Okay.
Yes.
But I mean, it's sort of superhero-ish.
In that it's the reboot of Twilight. Who doesn't love... Vampires are basically sparkly superheroes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, look, almost everything is a superhero show now.
Essentially everything has to have superpowers, which I'm okay with.
Right. I mean, if it doesn't have superhero powers, I'm probably not interested.
No. As long as there's some element of a superpower, superhero, I'm cool with it. Like I'll just run with it. You know.
And with that said, The Rock talked about the Rampage movie. Do you know what the Rampage movie is?
I'm sure I've heard of it, but...
You know Rampage, right? The video game?
Oh, yeah.
Right? The old, Atari.
Yeah.
Atari, no, it wasn't Atari. It was an arcade. Actually,
Yeah.
I played it on the Atari Lynx, which is why I had Atari in my head.
Okay.
One of the few games.
Yeah.
If anybody knows what Atari Lynx is.
Oh, I remember the Atari Lynx. It was the handheld system that came out with in conjunction with the Jaguar, where I had
Jaguar.
Yeah, the Jaguar was the Atari home system. I think it was
That was much later.
No, dude, I swear the Jaguar was out at the same time as the Lynx.
Well, anyway, moving on.
Because that was when Atari was like, forget numbers, we're going to do Wildcats.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's that synergy there.
Yeah.
All right, so The Rock talked about some plot details for this, and he's in Atlanta, and the production has begun, so this is actually happening. I didn't really know it was really happening, but it's interesting. So The Rock himself, I guess he said on Twitter, it's fun, it's interesting. He says, I head up an anti-poaching unit out of Rwanda, and my best friend is a rare albino gorilla named George, which was the name of the gorilla in the game.
Yeah.
He says, very bad people infect George, an alligator, and a wolf with the serum. So I guess those are the three, if you remember the game.
Vaguely.
Now, it wasn't an alligator. It was kind of like a reptile. Something, right? So that is a reptile, but it didn't look like an alligator.
Yeah.
That's fine. It works.
Sure.
And so all three animals grow to an unprecedented rate. Their size, speed, agility, and violent aggression is off the charts. They go on a deadly rampage and want to destroy the world. George not happy, me not happy. When animals like you, they lick you. When they don't like you, they kill you. I will hunt down the bad people who did this to my best friend. Said The Rock.
The Rock should not be writing his own material.
Which actually isn't too far from the official synopsis, which
Yeah.
I do have here. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's basically similar. He has an intelligent silverback gorilla with him. Weird that it's intended as silverback gorilla.
I don't know. I don't know enough about gorillas, but my education of gorillas comes from the movie Congo.
Yeah.
And weren't silverback gorillas
the really aggressive, big
aggressive
ones.
big ones.
Yeah.
But they were just shy of those weird ones from the mines that would kill people and be shied away when you stood your ground.
Well, that part I don't know. I didn't really see that, so
I don't know. I remember that, and I remember Amy. No, bad gorilla, Amy.
So actually, it was Harambe. I think Harambe was silverback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Everything
Harambe.
has to come back to Harambe.
Yeah.
Ever since he didn't win the presidency.
Yeah, it's been gone for a while, so let's bring it back. Little Harambe.
Just as long as he doesn't rename the gorilla from George to
Harambe.
to Harambe.
Maybe they'll have a Harambe reference in there.
Yeah.
I could see
like-
that happening.
It's like he rescues him from like Harambe's brother from the zoo that got tested on.
So it says it's in North America, and
Superpowers, it has to be a kaiju.
right,
Yeah.
which is basically in the same realm
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Well, remember her and Joe Manganiello.
Oh, okay. I was getting really worried that this was just going to be the cast of Watchmen.
Oh, that's true. And the director is Brad Peyton, who also directed San Andreas and Journey 2, which are
Okay.
both rock movies. So
Yeah.
I guess they have that relationship.
Yeah, I guess it's like, I don't know, like the, the Kevin Smith thing where you just, you find your cast that you like working with and you stick with them.
So moving on,
But then again, what really isn't The Rock in? At this
he's
point?
in a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that I love a lot of his movies.
I do have to say I do enjoy him in movies, even if I don't enjoy the movies themselves.
Yeah, no, he's always good.
Yeah,
for sure.
and I just remember being really surprised early on. I think it was in The Rundown when I finally accepted the fact that, like, okay, The Rock's actually an entertaining actor.
Yeah, The Rundown was definitely the movie where I was like, for sure, like,
Yeah,
I like The Rock in movies, and that combo with him, and
because he had Sean William
Scott was great. And
Yeah.
and if you ever got your way, you want Sean William Scott to play
Guy Gardner,
Guy Gardner,
which
so
is just a no-brainer for.
together he's
Yeah.
Guy Gardner, and The Rock is Black
Black
Adam.
Adam. Yeah, I mean, like they have obvious chemistry, even though the characters don't really have anything to do with each other. You know what? I'm sure with how poorly DC is running their movies, they could just like toss them together and be like,
I mean, why not? Black
Sure.
Adam's getting his own movie.
Yeah.
I mean, supposedly.
yeah, I mean, like just kind of forget about Shazam.
Exactly.
Just have the ancient wizard give Guy Gardner the power ring, and that's
No, Guy Gardner's just there.
He's just
with
there.
his ring, and
or they go
shows up.
or they just go the route of like it's Black Adam and Warrior. They just forget the whole Green Lantern aspect and just be like, oh yeah, that's right. We decided to make him half alien for some reason in the 90s. So let's just have his arm turn into a gun again. Why not?
It works, I guess.
Sure.
For the DC
For DCU.
universe, yeah, sure, that would make sense.
I'll literally just accept anything from the DCU at this point.
right?
Yeah.
So the next thing I have here is again more Lego spoilers,
All right.
as this always happens.
Yeah.
Has been lately spoiled the Ant-Man Giant Man thing in Civil War.
Was that Lego or was that the Funko Pop? I thought that was
It was
Funko.
both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I heard it first from or I'd seen it first from Funko Pop where
I
it was
think the
Giant
Lego
Man.
one came out first, but
Oh, okay.
the Funko Pop was soon around that same time.
Yeah.
So there's a Lego Thor Ragnarok set
Mhm.
that shows Thor, and I guess you can see the
Turn.
picture here
All right.
really quick. It shows Thor, and he's shooting blue energy blasts from his hands and blue glowing in his eyes. And I kind of think that means that he's going to use the Infinity Stone
Oh yeah.
from the Avengers movie, because they have that in Asgard.
Yeah.
And
Wait, no. Do they? They don't have that in Asgard. They
yeah.
didn't they give that to they brought it
Collector?
to the Collector.
No, that was the one from Thor 2. That was the Ether.
Okay, that's right. They all
Right.
kind of blend together.
So they have the the first one is the, what do they call it? Well, it's the space gem,
Okay, yeah.
right? So that would be pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense that Thor would be able to wield an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
And this movie is probably going to have to lead us into Avengers anyway.
Yeah. I mean, well, because
So I could see that Hela has possibly the Soul Stone, because she's the god of
Yeah.
their hell. So that would make sense that that's sort of
Yeah.
what she uses to collect souls, and then he has to use this other Infinity Stone to fight her, and we can see Infinity Stone power versus Infinity Stone power to build us up to that Infinity War movie to see how goddamn powerful these things really are, and that would be
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
yeah, I don't know. For however excited I am about Infinity Wars, I can't help but feel bad for Vision, who's essentially going to have to die so Thanos can get his glove.
He definitely might die, but
Yeah.
and I would be sad. I mean, there's a possibility he could live, but again, if he dies, I don't care that much.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't given us enough like to invest in him. They did a really good job making him a likable character. probably one of the few highlights of Age of Ultron. You know, just
You mean the many highlights of Age of Ultron?
Oh right, yes, the many highlights of Age of Ultron. Okay, I will recant that. There were many highlights, just cohesively, not a whole lot of incredibleness, which is a word because you can spell it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like, you know, Joss Whedon I think did a good job with just instantly just kind of saying like, okay, you know, he's a good guy and he's likable, you know, and you know they went the extra mile with Mjolnir, where he hands it to Thor, and you're like, okay, I'm buying into it. But in terms of development, they really haven't done a whole lot.
Well, we haven't seen him much. He was in Civil War. We got to see his little relationship developing with Scarlet Witch, which is good. I like that they're doing that, and I was believable enough the way they were presenting it.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Maybe they do something. I mean, because it's an expensive thing to do, kind of like the Hulk. Like he's got to have a CG effect on him at all times to make it work. Yeah. And they can do it. It just costs a lot of money, and he's not that important of a character, and he's also way too powerful. Yeah,
well, and that's the thing though. I would actually, for however much like I like that the character is in there. I think I would actually like it story-wise if that's what brings the Avengers and everything into the Infinity War, is Thanos goes directly after Vision and just rips the stone right out of his head. And, you know, and that's what, you know, brings all the Avengers, like, oh, okay, so this is happening now.
I mean, it could be, maybe that's what brings them back together. It happens maybe later in the movie.
Yeah.
And because, you know, at the end of Civil War, we're still sort of separated teams.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to come together. So that could be the moment that brings them together. Thanos, you know, just murdering this guy.
Yeah, because they're going to need to do something significant to bring them all back together.
Yeah, and Vision's a character who, you know, he is expendable. I mean, if you think about it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's not, powering any franchise. He never will. They're never going to make a Vision movie. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely getting the Hulk treatment where, you know, he has really good, like, memorable moments in the movies, but don't have, like, I don't get, or at least me personally, I don't get the feeling that he could support a movie on his own.
Mm-hmm. Plus, we can't let the, you know, relationship with him and Scarlet Witch go too far because that's going to ask too many questions, you know. How does this android, you know, hook up with a human woman? I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean,
does he have junk?
Because Ultron was on a timetable, and it's like, okay, so he needs arms and legs, a head. I mean, do we need time for a wing? Like, do we really need time?
Yeah, I mean, why would he even put one there? I mean, what function would it serve for him?
Because the only thing that I can think of is because Ultron really kind of came to being because he got it was basically like the Chitauri AI downloaded into the internet, and
it's really convoluted.
Oh yeah, but
let's not try to understand it.
well, this gets me to the point as to why he would be anatomically correct, is because if he's downloaded into the internet, he should have had a pet cat, and he should be really into porn. So it would make sense that if Vision's body was being created for
internet staples,
for all, I mean, it's 70% of the internet. The rest is like, you know, college. But I mean, like if Vision was being made for Ultron to download himself into, then I imagine he would be like, okay, I'm going to see what this sex thing is all about.
Let's give this a shot.
Yeah, you know what?
But he was kind of planning on killing all humans on Earth, so I don't know who he would be giving that shot with.
You know Tony Stark made a sex robot.
Well, I'm sure he has.
Like, he somewhere has a life model decoy of somewhere something, like, you know, like, he has a body for Friday somewhere, like.
Oh, you're right. Friday that's the name of the new AI, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Friday. Yeah, girl. Yeah, because it was like based off like Girl
right.
Friday.
Yeah.
All
right, so we also have another Lego possible.
Yeah.
Not a spoiler, but it's our
first.
first
Justice League.
Yes, our first look at Steppenwolf.
Okay, yeah.
And this is what I got here. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Yeah, which looks exactly like what you saw hanging out with the mother boxes and
For the most part, but again, his face looks more human. Now,
Yeah.
the thing is with this is that this Lego figure is not a regular minifigure. It's giant size.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
big. It's not. It's like parts put together. So this thing is he going to be this huge CGI monster? I imagine.
yeah.
And he has like claws in this Lego thing. Like it looks like 3 clawed hands. So like, okay, so we're getting another Doomsday essentially, one that can talk. Who's I guess a general.
Yeah, which I mean, honestly, like, who cares? Like, off mic, we've said it many times. I've expressed this many times. I really, really, really just want this franchise to end and start over. Just like end it.
It's I think we're unfortunately it seems like we're a long way off from that.
But I need Ben Affleck to back out as Batman.
That would do
That'll
it.
sh-
That
that'll
would
sh-
probably
that's pretty much
do
the
it.
only thing I can think of that would shut it down.
Although, like I've said before, I feel like they're planning for that with this
Oh, yeah.
with this Nightwing, Batgirl movies that they're supposedly making.
That they're supposedly making that'll never happen.
You never know with DC. I sure hope that they don't actually happen, but they could. And
Because they're movies just like Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and Flash that have such incredible potential that will
course.
never be met because they're trying to create a movie, in my estimation, based off of marketing and what they. It's basically where like DC failed so many times in the past, where they're trying to make movies based off of what they think people want to see as to what people might actually want to see, and it just makes no. They took a step in the right direction to bring Jeff Johns in, but from everything that I've seen and heard, it sounds like they're like, okay, you're in charge of this, but you still have to do everything we say. Make all the same decisions we were. We're just going to make you the guy that we blame.
I mean, he's definitely going to start getting some blame. If
Yeah.
these next few movies. I mean, Wonder Woman is really not on him.
No.
Aquaman maybe a little.
Yeah. Justice League, no, that's still Zack
Justice League
Snyder.
definitely not. But everything beyond that,
Yeah.
yeah, Jeff Johns is gonna have his finger. We're gonna say that Jeff Johns had a hand in this, and that he's definitely gonna take some blame
Yeah, which is really a huge letdown.
or
because-
praise.
or praise.
Let's be a little positive here.
Okay, I'll let you be positive. I'll be realistic. Because
That's not how these things
Yeah.
usually work.
yeah. No, I think everybody that knows the two of us will agree that I am the most optimistic, positive person between the two of us. But I think the thing that got me excited for Jeff Johns coming in is I've been a fan of comics that he's done for years. I loved his run of Justice Society when he brought that back. The Rebirth comics, when he brought Hal Jordan back and brought Barry Allen back, were really fun. I enjoyed those. But what got me really excited about it was, and I know you dropped off the show before it got to this point, was when Warner Brothers started to let him write episodes of Smallville. They were always like the big budget episodes of the season, and they were in my estimation, the best episodes of the season.
Okay.
Where you had, you finally got to see live action Legion of Superheroes.
Did he do the Doomsday one?
No, he didn't do the
Okay.
Doomsday one.
Did he do the Blue Beetle one?
Yeah, he did the Blue Beetle Booster Gold one,
Booster Gold, right?
which was phenomenal for how accurate they did Booster Gold. I loved hating him so
Yeah.
much. It was everything that it should have been. It still had the Smallville lens, from the show that was on probably like 5-6 years longer than it should have, because I'm sorry, not for like 10 years you can't just have Meteor Freak after Meteor Freak.
No, yeah, and that's the problem with all these TV shows. They have to come to an end.
Yeah.
Like Shield is on season 4,
Yeah,
and they're talking about it possibly. It might get picked up for a 5th season,
Yeah.
and I hope it does. And I hope that they say this is the final season.
That's most definitely one of us is saying that.
No, because it's like you can only go so far with these things, and I would prefer that they have a designed end to it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Instead of like, we're just going to keep it going as long as we can until it's garbage and nobody cares anymore except for the super fans who just watch every episode because they watched every episode so far.
Yeah, and if they did that with Shield, I would go back. I would try and watch that last season. I would,
Which I would add is absolutely worth it. This last season has been really great.
Refer to it as the previous season because the last season is just getting my hopes up. Like I tried, I told you I watched the first 2 episodes of the season, and like Ghost Rider did nothing for me. You know, just how they changed, the change in Sky to Daisy was too much. The show was just too far from what it started out as, and I liked it very much as where it started. But
yeah, there's a really great story. We'll talk. Maybe I'll mention that later when we talk about our TV shows. But
but really, just to finish my point about Jeff Johns, because this is probably the first of many derailments that
of course
that will happen.
Get ready for more.
Yes. What got me excited about him coming into DC was the fact that he was able to take a show that I still watched, where I still enjoyed it to a degree, but a lot of it was just me being a completist. He actually found a way to, within the same formula they were using for that show, which had become very formulaic and you kind of knew what was going to happen every episode, he found a way to make it exciting and new and fun and fresh. Because he brought in, he brought in the Justice Society, and you actually saw the Justice Society, and he, he brought, like I never thought I'd see like Stargirl and like Hawkman, and actually, and it was a really cool Hawkman, it gave me hope that he was the kind of, creative person that could, look at, something that, is going on in the Zack Snyder verse and could say like, okay, well, I see where this isn't working. I see where we can turn it around, and let's do that. Mm-hmm. And I hope that that's what's happening, and I hope that that's what's going to happen with, bringing Joss Whedon in to do Batgirl, and whatever happens with Nightwing and the Green Lantern Corps, because those are all characters that I know.
Yeah, I mean, briefly, we could just mention. You mentioned a few right there of how many goddamn DC projects are in various states of production right now. You mentioned Booster Gold. Mm-hmm. Booster Gold is being written supposedly. Yeah. They have script writing going on for that.
I mean, they've been trying that for a few years. Where I think there was a TV show at Sci-Fi for a while.
Right. Now, Man of Steel 2 is supposedly a thing that they're talking about.
Let's not forget the Krypton show that everybody forgot is coming out.
Well, that's TV show. That's separate. We could talk about that. But then there's the Suicide Squad 2 is a possibility. Yeah. And then there's the Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah.
Which those two I feel like are going to be horribly rushed.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
one of those is going to come out potentially next year.
Yeah, no.
Because they want to throw another movie in next year.
I guarantee you the script for that it just says more Harley Quinn, shorter shorts. That's the script.
More ass shots.
More ass shots. You know that scene in the trailer where she's pulling the shirt down? What if it was going up? Wow, Zach. This is why we brought you on. It's genius thinking like this.
And why don't you put a really popular song on that's super obvious to the moment in there?
Yeah, just find a find like a Spotify playlist of somebody who really liked Guardians of the Galaxy and find the one song on there that wasn't in that movie. Play that over the trailer.
So, and then what have I missed anything? But Black Adam. Which is I don't understand why that's happening, and there's Shazam, which of course
how those are separate, I don't understand.
Right. I mean, I want Shazam to be a thing, but I feel like that movie might not even happen either.
The only thing that I'm hoping for is that Black Adam is kind of like the precursor to Shazam, where it actually takes place in ancient Egypt.
Well, that's supposedly the idea that it might be a prequel to that.
That's okay. That would actually be cool, and then you actually see, and it could be, like Black Adam, like, coming in, through force, and then you have, you have the wizard Shazam, who's like, we can be able, but he's like, but I can do something about this, and he, and this is probably about the level of script writing that I've come to expect from DC, where he's like, not on my watch. And, and he just finds like some sickly, frail, Egyptian kid, and he's like, you right there, you're going to be Captain Marvel. Before it would make sense for another company to have that title.
Now, would they really do this movie, though, before Shazam? Like that? I mean, they have The Rock cast, and they want to use The Rock. So, like, I could see them doing that, but it doesn't make sense to do that.
Like I said, the only way it would make sense to do that before doing Shazam is to do it, like to set up the other movie.
Yeah.
But who cares about Black Adam?
I certainly don't care much about him. He seems like a cool enough character, but I'm not that interested in him.
I haven't read much with him. The impression of him I always kind of get is that he's just like the anti-hero, where he's like usually bad.
I mean, for the most part, he's a villain, and he does terrible things.
Yeah.
And I know at times that he has had anti-hero moments, but like, come on, the dude's pretty much a villain, and you can bend that and play with it, but how much can we really get?
Yeah.
Is he going to end up being the hero? Is he going to fight some other more terrible person? I mean,
but also let's not forget, The Rock really does not do well in ancient Egypt. He really does.
That's very true.
Because like 70% of the way through the movie, all of a sudden, Black Adam turns into like a really bad CGI scorpion.
That was some really bad CGI.
It was like somebody's nephew was like, I got a video toaster, which if you don't know what that is, it's because he did not exist in the 80s.
This was really early, and it was one of the first times that I can ever remember them trying to digitally create an actor's face in a movie like that. So, like, I understand that that's why it looked like crap.
No, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like it was a bad attempt. It was bad execution, but it was a very important step. I'll give you that.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was. I think if the whole movie was animated, I think it would have been fine. But since you were supposed to, when they were essentially saying like, nope, this is a normal thing that exists in the normal world, it was just so jarring and horrible. But I get why they had to do it.
Now, I don't believe that The Rock is good casting for Black Adam.
Really?
Yeah, because other than the fact that he looks the part, I think his charisma is wasted on that character. Like, The Rock is such a interesting, like, he can be fun, he can be funny,
Yeah.
He's got charm, and none of that is the way I would describe Black Adam. Like, I'm not saying that he's not a charismatic leader, but in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I would like, the thing that I would like to see with that is the whole, like, drama's easy, comedy is hard, where, like, I think it might be easy for him to be the likable guy, because I'm sure that's how he is in real life, and I'm not trying to take anything away from his acting ability and saying that he's just phoning it and he's just playing The Rock, but, maybe this is what he needs to do, just to trying to think of the best way.
I think he can act. I do think he's a good actor, and I don't want to, and like I'm trying to typecast him, which is wrong. I shouldn't do that. But I just don't. I think his talents are wasted in this role. I don't think we're going to get. He may put in a pretty good performance, but I just don't see the role being interesting to use for him. We have. I mean, like you've probably never seen Ballers.
No.
Which is a show on HBO where he plays a retired football player who's into financial management, and it's actually a very good show. I like it a lot, and he's really good in it. It's more serious. I mean, he's a fun character at times, but it's definitely a more serious role for him. So he can. I believe that he can definitely do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's one of the ones where like I kind of just have to wait and just wait and see. It is one of the castings when I heard about it though. It was like immediately I'm like that makes sense to me. Yeah. He looks like him.
He sure
and
does.
he and he's a good actor. I've never seen him do that kind of role before, but I trust.
Like this is the kind of thing that I think DC sort of does. Is like, does he look the part? Yes. all right, let's cast him. Like, that's not necessarily the best way. And they don't always do that, of course, because Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is evidence that they sometimes go a different way.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
they did like kind of, they were kind of like laying the seed of that he's like Lex Luthor Jr. or something.
Yeah, let's not get into that. But speaking of a Zack Snyder film,
Speaking of,
and as much as I love to throw shade at Zack Snyder,
yeah,
well, I have a quote from Zack Snyder.
it's not my fault. Stop tweeting at me.
So
Stop
apparently,
throwing
Zack
bricks at
Snyder
my
was
house.
quoted through an interview in Collider, and this is something he said to Junkie XL, who's the musical composer for Batman vs Superman.
Okay.
He's done other things.
Junkie XL.
Junkie XL. That's not actually his real name, of course.
I was gonna say John Williams, Junkie XL.
I know. You know, I made fun of this before when I first
Yeah.
heard it because it does sound really ridiculous. But he's actually pretty good. He's done some good work.
I'll say, not to get off topic again, but to his credit, because I had never heard his name before, or maybe just not attribute it to it, but I will say that I think I really did like the score to Batman vs Superman, especially the if he did do the Wonder Woman bit.
It's a
I
good
thought that
like
was-
it is. It's I like it, but I find it jarring, and I don't feel like it fit,
yeah.
and I don't feel like it works for Wonder Woman.
I think it worked for this movie. I
But-
don't think it's going to work at all for the Wonder Woman movie because I think
in World War One, like
Yeah.
this music is
Yeah.
there's no way this music is gonna play in the movie. I'm telling you right now.
no, there shouldn't.
Maybe in the
shouldn't
end
be-
credits,
Maybe.
or
There
maybe if they
shouldn't
have
be,
a
like-
flash forward, like in the future scene in the end.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. There shouldn't be that kind of guitar.
But anyway, let
But,
me
yeah.
let me read the quote
Of
because
course.
I set it up.
Sure.
So we got to get to it.
Yes.
So here he says, "There's only one thing you can do, and that is embrace this character as if it's your own. Keep it close to your musical soul, and just do whatever you feel is the right thing to do for this character. That's the only thing we can do. That's what all these great directors did back in the day, and that's what all these great composers did back in the day."
All right.
To which I think, I'm like, he says, just do whatever you feel is the right thing to do for the character. I'm like, I just, that exactly is why
Yeah.
he gets everything wrong. Because he just does whatever he feels is right. And
Yeah.
that doesn't work for characters that are so established,
Yeah.
that have had
see-
so much history.
Yeah. See, like I do and I don't just disagree with that. Because I've like a long time ago, like I kind of accepted the fact, and I've actually made peace with a lot of these movies, for how different they are from the comics, by just saying like, okay, the movies are basically just Elseworlds. It's characters you recognize, but it's just a different universe, and it can be a little different, and that's fine.
Sure, but you should only go so far. Well, in that this is the first representation of a lot of these characters,
Yeah.
or in DC's version, it's the first time we're getting to see them all in a universe together.
Yeah.
So they should be the more traditional versions.
No, I do agree, but
And Marvel has done an excellent job with that because it does seem like a plausible Elseworld that's not totally different.
Mhm.
Kind of like the Ultimate Universe that
Yeah.
they did, which was just like a reinvention of the characters, and they did it a little different. They modernized a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff, but none of it was like so. I mean, eventually it became wildly different, but in the
Yeah.
beginning it wasn't so wildly different that you didn't recognize
no, it was
the
very
behaviors
grounded.
of the characters.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean is like I feel like he just doesn't get it. Like he's just saying to do what you feel is right, but like if I feel like he doesn't know what's right for the character. So
Yeah. Well,
if he's just gonna do that, he's just gonna do weird things like
Well, that's why I
Batman
said,
murder like 30 people.
that's why I said I do and I don't disagree with it, because like I think that's 100% true if the movies were being written by the comic writers. Like I think that's 100%
Sure,
true
right.
with Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns when they were writing the Batman. I think that's 100% true because Jeff Johns has written comics for years. I know Ben Affleck
Right, he
is,
knows the character very well.
yeah, like Ben Affleck is like a huge comic, or at least was a huge comic fan. Like, because he wrote the preface for Kevin Smith's Guardian Devil trade paperback, where he just speaks like with authority on on the character,
Right.
So I trust that. That I say, by all means, do that because you understand the character. Zack Snyder, is an example of when that statement is false because
Right.
essentially it's like somebody handed him a trade paperback of The Dark Knight Returns. He flipped through it, was like, okay, I want to make that panel. I want to make that panel. That's sweet. All right, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, somebody come up with a story, but I need this, this, and this to look like this, this, and this. And I know you've said in the past where like, he makes incredible visuals. There are some scenes in there that are just truly beautiful to look at. He frames it, his team, because I don't want to detract from anyone, but
Yeah, it was that whole moments versus scene idea.
Yeah.
He just wants to have all these great moments, and it's like, how do we get to this moment?
And that's why
this moment, like, it doesn't matter. Okay, we just need to get to them.
And that's why I think it would be brilliant if you had Joss Whedon directing, with Jeff Johns writing, and Zack Snyder as the director of photography.
Right.
I think you will get a perfect comic book movie from that.
Yeah, but Zack Snyder, I don't think he'll take that demotion. So
I don't think he would, but at the same time, I can't speak with authority on this. I know nothing about the man, but I would imagine that he would almost enjoy that more. Just because that seems to be the thing that he excels at. So it's like, dude, just go and have fun and, just like, do whatever, this is what you get to do for the movie. Make it beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, this quote was in reference to Justice League, if I didn't say that, composing music for Justice League. Mm-hmm. But with the director's part, he says, like, that's what all these great directors did back in the day. I'm like, I'm not sure, like, who is he talking about? Because these characters didn't have a ton of great directors. Like, yeah, Superman.
Richard Donner,
the first one was Superman.
Which I will say, Richard Donner
and Tim
as
Burton.
Superman is and Tim Burton,
right.
They're probably about as faithful and accurate to the comic or the source material as Zack Snyder is being right now. And the thing that Zack Snyder has going against him is
but the essence of those characters were more like the characters that we knew.
Yeah, more or less.
Like they didn't
Batman still killed people,
right? But he didn't kill them as indiscriminately. It seemed,
dude, he had machine guns on the Batmobile.
But
he blew up.
There was rubber bullets in it. Not kidding.
Yeah, he blew up entire factories with people in them. He threw Joker off a building.
but the Joker, you gotta kill the Joker. Well, maybe
no,
not.
you don't. Batman has actually been very clear about not killing the Joker.
He should, though.
I mean, yeah.
He absolutely should. If anybody should kill any villain, it's Batman killing the Joker.
Yeah. See, I think I think if anybody killed the Joker, it would be Jason Todd. I think that would be would be.
I think there's a lot of people who probably want to kill the Joker, and who should kill the Joker.
Yeah.
If given the chance.
Yeah.
But I guess we can. What else do we have? I guess I have another quote.
All right.
This is Matt Reeves' quote on the Batman movie from an interview with the LA Daily News. And he said, "What I find so interesting about him as a character," obviously referring to Batman, is that as far as superheroes go, he is not superhuman. He's a person. He also said he's a tortured soul who is grappling with his past and trying to find a way to be in a world that has a lot of things that's wrong with it, and trying to find a way to reconcile all of that.
So I guess he has not seen Batman vs Superman, where Batman can now see the future.
Because this is a super basic quote about that's Batman. Okay, great. You got anything more to say about this character? Anything deeper? I mean, I get he's not a superhuman. He's a person. But you know what? Superheroes are people. They're all persons.
Yeah.
It's not like Batman is the only superhero that's a person. And I don't like that argument. I don't like people saying that that's what makes him more interesting, that he doesn't have powers. I'm like, no, that's just his character. Powers.
Yeah, I mean,
I like characters with powers more. I'm just more interested by that.
Yeah. There is something to be said for a character without powers. And it's not limited to just Batman, and I would actually argue that there are characters that are more interesting because they don't have powers. Because like the Question, I think is a super interesting character. Like I haven't read a whole lot with the Question, but
Yeah, I really only know him from the cartoon episodes that he appeared in.
Yeah, but like it's
but he's Rorschach, right?
yeah, he's like he's a toned down
Right,
Rorschach,
right.
or Rorschach's an amped up Question.
Right.
But because I don't know, like Batman, I think could be really interesting. I think when done well, he's a really interesting character. I think a lot of people just rely on like, well, he's rich, so he probably has a device that'll take care of this, and and like when he's written as
Shark repellent,
yes,
things like that.
yeah, because Carl has not seen beyond the 1966 Batman movie with Adam West, but
Okay, he's got a rebreather.
yeah,
Yeah, because those exist.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a comic book, Carl. Yeah,
But yeah, I know. But there's no happenstance about I just have a rebreather, which would be a really great invention that you might want to share with the world.
yeah,
I don't know.
But you can't have all of this technology coming out of like Wayne Enterprises.
Because he's got other tech like his grappling hook and stuff, which really isn't that useful in most situations,
No.
and would also probably rip your arm off. But that's another story.
Well, that's why you have the Kevlar reinforced bat suit to take the brunt
Exactly.
of. Yeah.
Right. So again, not practical for the average person, but
Yeah.
the rebreather,
Yeah.
very practical.
Very practical.
Very useful for a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, for however much I have, there's a lot of Batman that I've read and I've enjoyed. He was a character that I loved as a kid, and a lot of that came from the Batman the Animated Series, which is the best incarnation of Batman.
Definitely, yeah.
But I think there's something to be said of like giving him a break.
Yeah, for sure. The reason I read this quote, I thought about it was, it just seems like he doesn't have a very interesting take.
Yeah.
Look, I'm reading a lot into this one quote, but I'd like to hear something more interesting than the very basic idea of
Yeah,
Batman.
because
Like,
that's
we know
essentially
it.
just like I Wikipedia'd Batman.
Right.
No superpowers, lots of money, read a lot of books, can punch. Like that's essentially like Matt Reeves' take.
Well, like the thing, trying to find a way to be in a world that has a lot that's wrong. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's super generic Batman idea. Like,
Yeah.
got it, guy. Let's give
But
me
also-
something. Give me something to be excited about.
But also, that's not the Batman that we've seen.
No, definitely not.
Because the Batman that we've seen in this movie, and I don't know if the Batman in quotes, because that's the title of the movie, I don't know if that comes before Batman vs Superman, if that comes after. I don't know if that's going to give us more backstory as to when Manor burned to the ground and when he became an alcoholic.
No, we'll get to see the parents' death again.
Oh, thank God!
Yeah.
Because that really hasn't been drilled into my head in every single Batman
I sure as hell
property.
don't know it well enough. I need a little more detail. Like, I want to see them. Can we see them in the movie or the opera or whatever it's supposed to be at this point?
Yeah, well,
Like, give me a little more. I could see. Show them what kind of snacks they got.
yeah. Well, we know it was the Mask of Zorro that he was watching,
Right.
so we know he was watching the movie. But yeah, dude, popcorn junior mints. We're in the dark on
Was
this.
Thomas Wayne drinking?
He could have been.
Was Martha? Is she the lush? I don't know.
Yeah.
All these unanswered questions that we could find out.
How many pearls were on her necklace when they fell to the ground? Like,
Yeah, maybe Thomas was so aggressive because he was, rip roaring drunk, or
Yeah.
maybe he did a line of coke before. I don't know. We don't know these things.
Yeah, like he's the dude from the beginning of Die Hard where he thinks he can negotiate with the terrorists. He's like, hey, look, you're a businessman. I'm a businessman. Just because he's coked up, from the bathroom. It was...
I love it. Thomas Wayne is a cokehead, and
Yeah.
Martha Wayne's
Martha
an
Wayne's just
alcoholic.
they're just in a loveless marriage, and like Bruce is too young to know any different. He's like, the whole time,
Right.
he's just like...
Joe Cool did Batman a favor. He did
Joe
Bruce a-
Chill.
Chill, right? Joe Chill did Bruce.
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool.
Snoopy.
Yeah, right.
Snoopy's alternate. personality just shoots Bruce Wayne's
Yeah.
parents. I love that version.
Yeah.
I love that comic book crossover. Please, please, please let that be the next movie made.
He improved Bruce's life, okay?
Yeah.
He's better off without those terrible people.
I mean,
But anyway.
but I mean, in like the comics Hush, like that's essentially like the backstory for Tommy Elliot, where he's like, oh yeah, my parents suck, so I killed one of them.
Okay.
You know, and then he became like evil Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Hush story, but that could be something that we could, maybe they'll do.
That would,
No.
I mean, they would have to really tone that
Oh
down.
yeah, it'd be like
Because Hush was like every Batman villain. And
right.
Like, all
It'll be a lot like Logan, where it's in some ways like the comic Old
Yeah.
Man Logan, but for the most part, there's almost nothing from the comic in it.
oh yeah.
But it's themed to that
Yeah.
by it. But let's go to our thoughts on the Inhumans cast photo that we got to see today, or well the other day.
The other day.
But anyway,
The Living Dolls photo.
yeah,
Where they just look so. Essentially, like. They could be wax dummies.
yeah. I mean, I don't know that I love the photo. I think actually the costumes are actually fine, with the exception
Oh, yeah.
of Medusa's hair in this photo.
It looks like plastic.
Yeah, it's strange. It's almost a little too orange. Maybe it should be more red. But I mean, we'll see what happens. They're gonna have to do a lot of
See, the color
CG effect.
The color doesn't bother me. It looks very artificial, in comparison to like everyone else, because they just look like everybody just kind of looks like they're wearing clothes. They're just like, with the exception of like Black Bolt and Medusa,
Yeah.
like everybody
Well,
else.
I mean, Black Bolt's costume that's pretty much Black Bolt's
Well,
costume.
yeah.
With
Oh,
the
yeah.
he doesn't have the mask, and I hope we do see that at some point. It's okay
Yeah.
that he doesn't wear it all the time because masks are clumsy and annoying.
Yeah.
And I get why they don't do it. I really like Crystal. I like how they did her.
Yeah.
That's basically what she looks like for the most part. And they even got the hair thing. She's got
Oh,
like
yeah.
the
The
black
black bar.
the black bars in her
Yeah.
hair. That's great. That's
Yeah.
cool. I don't know why. If they probably won't explain it, but who knows?
Yeah.
That's fine. Maximus doesn't really look like anything more than that.
Yeah.
And I love the actor they chose. He's
Mm-hmm.
great in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They chose an Asian actor to play Karnak, which I think works well. He's got like the face paint stuff going on. I don't know, his costume looks like some sort of robes thing. Now, Gorgon looks kind of, I don't know, he looks like he's wearing a poncho, which I think is kind of odd. I don't know what that is, and I don't know. You can't see his legs really. I sure hope he's got like the weird like kind of. He's got to have the hoofed feet.
Oh yeah, like
right?
a centaur.
And, yeah,
or
and
the-
his legs like look like a, I don't know, like maybe like a
the goat.
yeah,
the
like goat
legs
or
bull.
bull or something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like I really hope we do see that. So yeah, I mean, this show is like I really hope it's good because I am one of the few people apparently that love the Inhumans.
I have very little exposure to the Inhumans. Like I think I told you in the past, the only reason why I know who Crystal is because I think she replaced Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four for a little while she was either like giving birth to Franklin Richards or like raising him.
Okay.
So like I know very little about
She
the
is
character.
ridiculously powerful character.
yeah.
Like she controls all four elements. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm surprised we don't see her more often in the comics.
yeah,
As powerful as she is, because even when it comes to the Inhumans comics, she actually doesn't appear a lot. She's
Yeah.
usually off doing something else. In the recent comics, I was reading some of them. They actually let her head up a separate team,
Mhm.
which was interesting. I like that. Was going on there. But yeah, they all have pretty cool powers. I mean, one thing we don't see is Triton is not there, and
Okay.
I that's fine. We don't really need Triton. We don't need a fish man. Like
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's too much. What I don't even know what his powers are, other than he's a fish man who can swim underwater, and he probably has super strength.
yeah.
He's Aquaman essentially,
Essentially, yeah.
but a more unfortunate Aquaman.
Yeah, my hope is he was left out in favor of someday eventually bringing in Namor, who's a character I actually like, the Submariner.
Yeah, no, I mean they should do him in the movies.
Yeah,
Um,
which I still think.
and
I
these
still think
people,
the dumbest,
what?
No. I was just gonna go on a tangent on how I think Jason Momoa should have been cast as Namor instead of.
Well, people have suggested Donnie Yen to play Namor,
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
Be
I
interesting.
mean, I don't know anything about him more than what I saw in Rogue One, but
Right.
I liked him in that.
So another thing that we've seen in set photos of this is that they are doing Lockjaw,
Mhm.
and they are going full on Lockjaw. Like
Yeah.
he is getting. They have this big stand-in like giant blue like shaped dog thing that they're
Yeah.
gonna obviously CG in, and I'm like, all right. I mean, let's go. Let's see it.
Yeah, why not?
That's cool.
I feel like after they did Guardians of the Galaxy and you do Groot and Rocket and people are just like, I accept this. At this point, like they can literally do any ridiculous thing that they've ever done in the comics. Giant dog, of course. We'll just accept it.
Giant
It ma-
teleporting dog.
Sorry, giant
We
teleporting
can't
dog.
forget that.
No, that's actually what grounds it in reality and makes it believable.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I have high hopes for the show. I'm excited. I'm gonna see it in IMAX,
Yeah.
and that was great.
Unless I download it a week before it comes out, I'll watch it in IMAX too.
I'm sure you will.
Not that I would do that, but
So let's move on to a topic that we wanted to have today about Star Wars.
Oh, of
being
course.
that yesterday was
May the 4th.
May the 4th.
And today is Revenge of the Fifth,
Revenge of the
which I can't believe people are trying to get that to be a thing. But
I mean, it's not bad. It's the
It's
first
not
time. It's the
bad.
first time I've heard it. I'm like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
really,
Revenge of the Fifth.
yeah,
All right.
well, a lot of people keep on saying Return of the Fifth, and I'm like, that's not a Star Wars movie.
No.
Yeah,
Revenge
but
of the Fifth.
Revenge of the Fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Revenge of the Fifth is when you treat May the 4th like it's Cinco de Mayo.
yeah.
And the revenge is, of course, the Hangover. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what kind of news did we get on May the 4th, Brian?
Literally nothing. I searched because I love Star Wars. I am a Star Wars apologist, and I don't care about spoilers. I want to know as much Star Wars as I can. I searched the internet for any news releases. Couldn't even give us any like screenshots of the first episode of Rebels, or just like anything. Like there was nothing like thrown up on Twitter by like Mark Hamill, anything like even one of his like April Fool's jokes. There was just like there was nothing new. There was no like
Throw us a freaking bone, right?
yeah, just give us like, I mean that trailer or that teaser was awesome, and I love that it's that teaser was like a sequel to the Force Awakens teaser where it was like beat for beat, like you can line those two up together.
Oh, The
And
Last Jedi?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Last Jedi. It's like
Right. Oh, well, let's talk about that. But before, I just want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Briefly.
yes,
May the 4th, if you're, we live in the Buffalo area.
yeah.
And there's a local donut shop called Paul's Donuts,
Mhm.
which has excellent donuts, by the way.
Oh yeah, too
Probably-
eatable.
Probably the best that I've ever had anywhere.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
So we heard on the radio that they had these special Star Wars donuts.
I missed that.
Yeah. So I went to the store. I waited in line, and it was a pretty long line.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And I get to the counter and I ask about the Star Wars donuts, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've got a Yoda, we've got a Stormtrooper, and we've got a Chewbacca." And they're not out there for you to see
Yeah.
for some reason. And they're like, "Oh, and by the way, you can only get 2." And I'm like,
Wow.
"Okay, sure." I'm excited,
Yeah.
like it sounds like really awesome and exclusive. So the Chewbacca one was like a peanut twist. So
Okay.
I was like, "Oh no, I don't want that."
See, that's where we differ because peanut twist is my favorite donut.
It might have been good, but
Yeah.
I've never had it, so I didn't want to. I don't know. I didn't get to see what the Chewbacca one looked like.
You need to live dangerously.
But I
so-
got the Yoda and I got the Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And the Yoda one, okay, they hand it to you in a bag, right?
Yeah,
Each one of them is in an individual bag, so I didn't even look at it. I paid for it.
yeah.
I went to the car, and then I looked at it. And the first thing I thought in my head, I'm like, I should really return these donuts.
Paula's is letting us down.
Yeah, because...
Paula's will never sponsor our podcast, sir.
So, no, the donut was delicious, okay?
Oh, yeah.
But the Yoda one was just had chocolate frosting on it
Mhm.
with a green outline of a Yoda head on it. That's it.
That's so lame.
I know. I was like, limit 2. Then it's
Yeah.
everybody's buying it. Everyone's in line for it. I'm expecting something pretty nice. I thought they were limiting it because they put a lot of time and effort into these.
Yeah.
Oh no, they did not.
Like, how hard is it to, like, if you're gonna put that effort in, where you're gonna have like a limited amount that you can purchase and all that, how are you not just like roll? Okay, I don't know how to make donuts, but like you roll out like the donut dough. How are you not just using like cookie cutters? Like, get Star Wars cookie cutters and
I don't
just
know.
do like Yoda's head, even if as long as it's the vague shape.
Right, I thought it would even like be shaped like his head, and then
Yeah,
it'd
it's
be
like
drawn
twisted to
on
the
and look like it.
ears.
Yeah, but nope, none of that.
Wow.
With some wrinkles on the head.
I'm guessing the Stormtrooper was just as
The
disappointing.
Stormtrooper was, they put more effort into the Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
It was all the white frosting with like the lines drawn and like some black frosting.
Okay.
And it sort of looked like the Stormtrooper
Yeah.
thing, but it was not great. It didn't look
Yeah.
all that convincing to me. I was like, yeah, I guess that's a Stormtrooper, but if I wasn't told it was a Star Wars donut, I might not have immediately been like, oh yeah, Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what May the 4th did for me in the local area. That I had a little disappointment, but
Yeah.
the donut was still delicious, so I was
Yeah.
like, whatever.
Yeah,
And
I mean-
by the way, they also charged more for it.
Are you serious?
Oh yes, they charged
Wow.
more for it.
Wow.
I know.
Paulus.
The balls on Paul's donut.
Paulus, you're really letting me down here.
The superhero's journey brought to you by Paul's Donuts.
Not anymore.
So back to the Last Jedi teaser you were saying.
Oh yeah. No, I love that the teaser itself is like a sequel to the Force Awakens teaser, where it was basically like beat for beat. I'm willing to bet that if you laid one on top of the other, the cuts were probably even the same.
I'm sure
spot.
someone's done this on
Oh yeah, because it's the internet.
on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. But and I thought that was great. I thought it showed just enough to get you excited for it, not tell you anything about the story.
Right.
you know.
I've told you before. I was
Yeah.
underwhelmed by the trailer.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, like it is really good. It's well done,
Yeah.
and I'm interested, but it just didn't show me anything new. There was nothing, and not that I want
Yeah.
everything revealed, but
Well-
with the Force Awakens, you got to see BB-8. You got to see Kylo Ren's lightsaber,
Yeah.
and I'm not thinking of anything else off the top of my head, but you got to see some things that we've never seen before in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, yeah, you see a couple new things where you see Rose and you see, I think, what was it, like the U-Wings maybe?
yeah, those other, right, whatever those were, but
Yeah.
nothing really that stood out that I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that. It was more like, all right, I'm already on board, and this
Yeah.
looks well made, so of course I'm going to see it. But
Yeah, well,
it was a little underwhelming.
yeah, but I mean, it also has. You also have to take into account that like we saw a new Star Wars movie like 2 years ago, whereas before that, the last Star Wars movie we saw was Revenge of the Sith. So and that was as far as we knew, that was the last Star Wars movie we were ever going to see. George Lucas, was even like, if everybody's saying all this crap about me, why would I ever make another Star Wars movie? And I was like, I get it.
George Lucas did not have the high ground.
He did not.
No, he did not.
He got the legs cut out from under him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. However underwhelmed I am by May the 4th, I'm very excited for The Last Jedi.
Of course, yeah. Force Awakens was excellent. I loved that movie.
Yeah,
and I loved all the new characters, things that all the new concepts that we got. I know the movie had, it wasn't perfect, of course.
Yes, it was.
Well, okay, all right. It was perfect.
Yes, thank you.
It was absolutely perfect.
Everybody agrees with that.
Let's just move on.
Yeah. No, I mean it had its moments, and there's like small things you can pick apart, like Leia hugging Rey instead of Chewie after Han dies.
Right.
You can pick that apart, and I do agree with that. But
yeah, like that's a little weird. And actually, there was just a recent story, something new about that Ryan Johnson, who's directing
yeah,
The Last Jedi, just recently said
where
that
he had changed the ending.
Right, he asked J.J. Abrams to say, no, I want you to put R2 with
yeah.
Rey instead of BB-8. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't that be the case? To me, it makes me wonder, why did J.J. Abrams decide Why wouldn't I? Why would you decide not to do that? Like, I get BB-8's the new droid, and I love BB-8. Okay,
Oh,
I think
BB-8's great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But
especially for the fact that any amount of that was practical, that they actually made
right,
that droid.
so much of it was practical, more than you would ever expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fantastic. But
yeah.
BB-8 is Poe Dameron's droid, and
Yeah.
why wouldn't he stay with he or she? I mean, I don't know how to label these droids, but
Yeah.
But BB-8 should have stayed with it, and it makes sense for R2 to want to go to see Luke.
Well, especially
he's
because
Luke's droid.
especially because R2 had just come back online.
Right.
Once the second part of the map was brought.
Mm-hmm.
That makes complete sense. Like, of course, like R2, because it was his droid. It was his father's droid before that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's promising that Rian Johnson would say that, because he said it when they were talking about it, he said that he wanted to have that moment with Luke and R2, and have it sort of be mirroring the other movies where R2 was the only one who went to Dagobah with Luke.
Yeah.
It's like he was his companion though throughout all the hard times and everything that he did. So that's great, and that means that I think Rian Johnson hopefully is going to do a really good job.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of faith in that, because I think the one thing that Kathleen Kennedy is doing with the movies, again, the impression that I get, not knowing any of these people personally, is that...
You're not personal friends with Kathleen Kennedy?
No, I just told you that to sound cool. But no, that she's finding not only talented directors and writers and people that understand story and composition and all that, she's finding Star Wars fans.
Right.
And
that's important.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that Marvel has done some of that as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
One of the things that I think was awesome that people don't really realize is that Peyton Reed, who took over for Ant-Man after what's his name?
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright left. Peyton Reed is a huge comic book fan.
Yeah.
And he actually, it was interesting, I remember reading back a while ago that after he was announced for Ant-Man and he went to Comic-Con, he was like, this is amazing, because he says that he's been going to Comic-Con for years, and like, this is the first time he's going where he's actually a part of production of something. So like, I think Peyton Reed did a great job, and I'm very excited for more of that, and I think that's what you need.
Ant-Man is one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, Ant-Man was fantastic.
Yeah. And that, and like, going back to Marvel and, essentially, which after a point, is decisions that Disney is making, again, which is also like with Star Wars, they are finding the right people for these jobs, where you have, Jon Favreau for Iron Man, who did that because he likes Iron Man, because he wanted to do that movie, where, that was like, that was just a huge, fan film. I think that's the move that Disney and Marvel and, Lucasfilm are doing now, is they're not making these movies, they're making fan films. And that's why they're so enjoyable and so relatable, because it's the movies that fans would want to see, because it's the stuff that they would most likely be doing.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Let's move on to, I think, time to do our TV spoiler discussion.
An hour in, I'd say so.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
Yeah,
we're running. We're doing good here. We're getting moving along.
Yeah.
So
Shield okay, Flash awesome. All right, see you guys next week. Yeah.
Supergirl,
Yeah.
Arrow, maybe.
Arrow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That one I didn't watch.
I did.
As I told you.
Yeah.
And I'll get to it.
Actually, here I'll do Arrow right off the top, so we can get it down and out of the way.
Okay.
With the exception of the last minute of the episode, it was essentially pointless to the season, and could have, it could have just been, you could have gone through the entire thing, with just like a 2-minute teaser for the next episode, just setting up what's going to happen next. It's all you had to have. Everything in the bunker. There was no character development. There was nothing that really moved the story along.
Great. I'll look
Yeah.
forward to watching that later.
Yeah.
As much as I possibly can after that rave review.
Yeah, there were. I mean, coming off the previous week's episode where you had everything, we had the whole storyline with Renee and his daughter and all that, where that was a great. That was
Yeah,
a
no,
great
that was
character
actually
moment.
a really great moment.
Yeah, I love that. And it reminded me of why I really enjoy the show and why I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to go away from that to just like more Felicity stuff. And,
Oh God, I can't. I'm done. Like
And
just kill Felicity. I can't take her anymore. Like
I
it's
mean,
not because I don't like her at all as a character or
Yeah,
as an
I like the
actress
ca-
or whatever.
yeah.
It's just I can't take
What
her
they're doing
being
with the character.
the main focus with Oliver and like the back and forth, and it just I had enough.
I just don't get why
It's enough.
everybody in Star City is falling in love with her.
I don't know either.
Like, don't
I
get
mean,
me wrong. If she was like, "Hey, Brian, what's going on?" I'd be like, "Hi, let's get married and have the kids and stuff." Because
all the kids,
all the kids,
every one of them.
Because she is like a very incredibly likable character. She's very, very beautiful, and
And
all
she is
that.
an amazing hacker.
she is an amazing
That's-
hacker.
What more could you want?
Yeah, that's really all I look for in a woman, is to be a good character.
But you got to watch out because she's such a good hacker that she can hack your computer and make it electrocute you to death.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yeah,
don't cross her.
yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
You better do the dishes.
Yeah.
Right?
I could just knock out like the chip that's making her walk.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah.
Maybe put it in front of the microwave.
Yeah.
Effective. So I'll go over Shield a little bit because I like the show a lot. I
Yeah.
think it needs to be talked about. I know
Sure.
you're not watching it,
And I will take a nap, and when you are done,
so I know you don't care if I say anything that happens in the show.
dude.
They're in the midst of this whole framework thing,
Yeah.
and there's this whole I don't know if
Even
you
if
know
I
at all
love
what's
the
going on.
Even if I love the show, I don't care about spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm one of the rare.
They
breeds.
have this whole alternate world where everybody had something changed in their life that made them different.
Mhm.
Some characters are evil and good. So like Ward is good. We have good Ward back,
Yeah.
which is cool. I like that a lot. He was really good.
Yeah.
We even got to see like Triplet back for a while. If you
Okay.
remember him.
Yeah.
Fitz though is
Mm.
evil, and he's like the head of Hydra, and he is.
That's a stretch.
It is not a stretch because he is awesome as an evil Hydra head because he's like the Hydra scientist. He's not like okay, so Ada is actually the real head,
Yeah.
but he's like the second, so he's one of the heads.
So he's basically like I forget the actor's name, Toby something from Captain America, where you have the Red Skull and then you have
Right, but they are actually dating or they're hooking up.
Red Skull and the dude.
No, Fitz and Ada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who?
Wait. I don't know Ada.
Yeah, Ada's the LMD, the first one that he made. The main
Dude,
guy.
that's after my time.
Well, yeah.
I stopped
Radcliffe.
after, like,
yeah,
2 episodes.
Radcliffe. But anyway,
Of course, Fitz would just be trying to bang.
right.
a robot.
Fitz's father is alive in this. Well, in that world, she's not a robot.
Of course.
Right.
Because fake people turn into real people.
Well,
and
because
alternate-
it's all creation in their mind, right? It's called the framework. And it's like this digital world essentially.
the Matrix.
Yes, kind of like the Matrix. Yeah. Fitz's father is in it, and it's an interesting impact with it. His father gets killed in the episode, and there's some really strong moments there that I really like. Coulson, there's some cool like a throwback with Coulson. He gets shot through the chest, and he says, "This feels oddly familiar," which is great. I love the Avengers throwback reference.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There's some really cool effect when they finally everybody, because not everybody in the framework knows that they're in there, because essentially the idea is that they believe this is the real world.
Okay, yeah.
Right, except for the two characters.
Morpheus.
Yes. No,
Trinity.
Sky and Simmons, who put themselves into the framework to get the other people out. So, but everybody else believes. So, like Fitz believes he's that character. He doesn't know that other world exists. So he actually thinks that he's this Hydra scientist leader.
Okay.
So it's a really cool effect when they all finally like realize it, and it like kind of shudders through the world, and everybody sees that like they're actually not. They can see like they're sort of digital, and that was pretty cool. I like that. There's I have all these nitpicks about things in shows, and I really like that there was a pistol whip that doesn't knock someone out.
Very nice.
I know. I was like, yeah. I'm like, pistol whips don't automatically knock people out. That's not a thing. Like,
According to TV, though.
like it's gonna really hurt, but
Yeah.
it's gonna leave probably a big old like gash in your head, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not necessarily gonna knock you out. So that was cool. Something really cool concept that I like is that the whole reason that Ada's doing this because she's using that Darkhold book that they have the knowledge of, which I don't want to get into, but
Yeah.
it's a book that's sort of magic, but you know that whole cross of magic and tech thing, like it's
Yeah.
advanced thing. So they're using it to develop this technology that she's using Fitz to develop that can create a human body for her. So at the end of the episode, they create a human body for her to transfer her mind into, and she gets killed in the framework, but it doesn't matter because she's already changed into this body. And on top of that, she has like teleporting powers. I don't know how, but at the end,
Because that's how that works.
I know. Well, I imagine she made her body using the Darkhold stuff, like
Yeah.
gave it special abilities. So now she has like actual emotions. She's finally feeling like what it is to be a real person at the end.
And she hasn't just like crumbled.
Right, and she wants Fitz to like be with her. Like she genuinely cares about Fitz.
Yeah.
And Fitz sort of is confused once he gets out of the Matrix,
The Matrix,
the
the
framework,
framework.
because he doesn't realize he knows at this point he realizes that he's the other person and that this stuff was, but he still remembers all the things he did and it feels real to him, and he's like tortured by the fact that he killed a lot of people. He ordered people's deaths in that world, and it was real to him. And he's not sure how to feel about her because he was in a relationship with her. So she teleports with him away somewhere. And like that was cool because you didn't expect it. Like, would she help her? So you think like, oh, she's human. They're just going to kill her.
Yeah.
They were trying to. They were going to shoot her, which I was like, yeah, just shoot her. Why not? They had no qualms about be like, yes, we're going to just kill her, even though she's a human now. It doesn't matter. Just kill her.
Yeah.
And then she teleports away. I'm like, yeah, she knew you would try to murder her. She didn't care.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. A lot of good stuff there.
Sure.
So we can move on to something you actually watch
Yeah.
and care about.
Like I said, I might, when the show, maybe like over the summer, I might try and binge watch as much as I can, you know, like hoping for something interesting. I just found the beginning of the season to just be so dry and uninteresting to me.
So let's go on to, we'll save probably the most interesting guy, maybe for last. We'll go to Supergirl next.
Alright.
And the first thing I have, this episode immediately set me off on a good note
Okay.
because they start off and they're getting pizza, and it's
Yeah.
Hawaiian pizza.
And you're like, I like.
And
me
I'm
some
like,
Hawaiian.
hell yeah, Hawaiian pizza.
I mean, like, Hawaiian pizza's like greatness aside, I feel like this entire episode as a whole probably should not have like taken place in the one of like the final 4 episodes of the season. This definitely feels like it should have been a lot earlier on in the Alex Maggie relationship, like more like mid-season. Just because I feel like it didn't really do all that much about the the Daxamite stuff and anything like that, which is really what I wanted.
Right.
What I was hoping to see.
Well,
amp up.
yeah, I mean,
But, like,
it
that
doesn't
aside-
bother me because it's another strong episode, you know?
Yeah, it was still a fun episode. I don't know if I really thought it was probably as strong as yours. There was a lot good to it. Like
Right.
the second season of Supergirl, it's really kind of hard to beat a lot of it. I think a lot of what they're doing is really good and really smart and really
One thing that I thought was interesting they mentioned, Maggie at one point says like when Supergirl is just taking these bad guys out and just interrupting the police's work, and then they get to use like what they call the Supergirl defense.
Yeah,
And
that was cool.
That was a cool concept, and it's very much a lot like what caused the supers to go away in The Incredibles.
Yeah.
This-
However, I feel like it's something that should have been answered a long time prior, like in Society with Superman.
Right, that's true. But it would be cool if they went more into that.
Yeah.
I mean, they introduced it here. I don't know if it's just a throwaway thing for
That
this
would-
episode.
I think that would be a great if this is setting up a season finale where Supergirl has to get like arrested or like locked up, or she's not allowed to like essentially be a vigilante anymore, even with working with the DEO, because she's legally doing more harm than good. I think that could be a really cool thing.
Right.
But the episode on its own, like I just thought, I'm like, it was a good way to start the argument, for Kara and Maggie, to kind of find their common ground.
So when the bad guy knows who Kara is, Supergirl, and then they're discussing it in the DEO, and all the agents are around her,
Yeah.
and she's just like, "Oh, I'm Supergirl," and blah blah blah. I'm like, I really wasn't aware that every DEO member knew her secret identity.
Yeah, like how they're very free about saying Clark instead of Superman. Yeah. That is one of my issues with Supergirl and kind of the Flash. They're very free with these secret identities.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like whatever. It's just a nitpicky thing, but I thought it was funny that I was like, okay, I guess everyone here just knows, and if it gets out, well, I mean, maybe it was one of those random DEO guys who may have just lost his job. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, oh yeah, well, I guess we probably shouldn't have fired Trevor then because. Because, I mean, yeah, like John Jones, I think.
Yeah, maybe he just wipes everyone's mind when they leave the DEO.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end of the episode, he had no qualms just being like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to wipe this guy's mind of everything he just knew and said and did. I'm like, okay. So, realistically, you're going to have to wipe, like, the last, what? Did he say, how long did he plan for? A year, 2 years?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, I'm like, so you're going to have to wipe all that away because if it never came to anything, he's gonna wonder why didn't anything happen with it? Where did all this go? He's gonna maybe figure something out. So,
yeah.
So he's got no qualms and just ruining people's memories.
Yeah,
which is
but
fine.
also wasn't that a thing like last season earlier? It was last season. Where wasn't like Jean not really that good at wiping people's memories? Where like
probably not.
Where he's like I can do it, but it's gonna wreak havoc on it. Whereas this,
he didn't seem to want to do it either.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, whereas this, he's just like, screw it.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, whatever.
He's moved on. He's evolved. The whole thing with the
White
Martian. Yeah, White Martian. That really changed him. Let's go.
Oh
with
yeah,
that. Let's go with it.
When they merged, and he got that much more control over his abilities.
Let's go with it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Or when Supergirl and Alex's mom was just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I just whipped up a quick cure for your alien cancer."
I thought it was funny also in the episode that she just busts into buildings. So she's looking for Kara. She's looking for Alex.
Oh yeah.
And she just busts right in. I'm like, you got X-ray vision. You could kind of just look before you leave a little bit. She does it several times in the episode. I'm like, wow. I'm like, all right, just forget about your power, or
I mean, maybe she's like, was it Ultra Boy from Legion of Superhero, where has all those powers, but she can only use the one at a time. Like, but yeah, I don't know. That is kind of weird.
And the bad guy, he basically justifies multiple murders by saying that he was abused as a kid.
Yeah. I'm
like, it's a little bit of a stretch. And like, you seem very troubled by the whole abuse thing and happy that your father got you out of that.
Yeah.
Now, did he? I almost thought, like, did he kill the mother? He probably killed the mother.
Yeah.
He probably did. But either way, I'm like, he's just like, oh, it's fine that he's a murderer. I don't care. I'm gonna murder for him too. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Not that the villain's like plan was bad. I thought it was interesting that he was blackmailing and manipulating Supergirl. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And I did like that with this villain. Like, it did address, like a thing that should be like legit, like concern where he knew her as a kid, and she probably would have like slipped up, and he and like somebody could why couldn't somebody like from their childhood have just noticed all of these things, why couldn't they have like followed the clues to eventually know, and like that was a cool
I like how they had that flashback to the scene that we saw before when she was a kid, so that was good.
Yeah,
very well done there.
Yeah.
I really like Alina Luthor, and now that the Daxamite Queen, whatever her name is.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, but that was
mom.
Yeah,
Mom L.
Mom L. Yeah, Mom L. I liked where that was going. I thought that was interesting that she was manipulating her, and then she caught on to it. Like they make Lena out to be really smart.
Yeah,
I like that, and how she then tricked her into doing the finger scan, which is really just the test to see if she's an alien. I'm like, no, that was great.
Yeah,
like she's turning into a very, very good character. Not that she wasn't good, but like they're growing and they're telling you more about her, learning more about her. She's good.
Yeah, no, I very much like that she is. They've gone they've gone beyond the whole like, is she evil? Is she a Lady Lex?
Right.
Where
I was
you now
thinking that
know
too,
that. Yeah, where you're like, okay, I'm at the point where like I will be disappointed if she turns out to be evil.
Right. The show's shown a lot of restraint in not making her that like, oh, maybe she's evil. You know, like
Yeah.
it seems like she's not at all. And and I honestly think that's the direction they're going to go. She's just not. She might, like, in the end of the episode, she does seem to be making a deal with Mom L, but we don't. It's not like she knows what she's trying to do, so she's not necessarily going to be the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah. I think I think her character is like honestly doing what she feels is the best for, humanity, because, I think she's smart enough to know like inaction is the same thing as, helping whatever bad could happen. So, she's just like, okay, if I take part in this, then I can at least shape the direction of what, where it's going. And I think that's cool. I do like that about her character. And, and it is a little bit of that Luther arrogance, but, like, I don't know. It's cool. I like her character. I really want to see her maybe developed a little more, see where she's going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I like that her and Kara are just friends. Like, they call each other, talk about things. Like, that they've really developed that relationship well, and that's the credit to the show, like, and the writers, like, they're doing a really good job with the show. And I think anybody who's a fan of the DC shows who hasn't given the show a chance should absolutely give it a chance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to the point where you could, I would actually say that you could probably even like just skip over the first season. The first season, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of stuff you can enjoy.
Yeah, I'd watch it because there's good stuff in it, but it's not as good as the second season. But
the second season, after it moved to the CW, after it stopped having the CBS influence, where I think, it was Andrew Kreisberg probably had a lot more control over it, even with the smaller budget. Like I think, it's definitely coming into its own, and it, it's as good as any of the other DC shows, if not in some cases better.
Yeah, for sure. One other thing last thing I want to say about this was there was a quote that Supergirl makes in the episode where she says, "I can't fly fast enough and turn back time."
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. Like I love when they reference like other older properties, but in a way that it's like, yeah, that was ridiculous. Like, obviously you can't do that.
But Superman did do that. We saw it. We saw it in that documentary. Superman II.
Superman II?
Yeah, Superman II.
I'm not getting it.
Superman 2. Roman numeral.
What didn't that happen in Superman 1?
Was it Superman? Oh yeah, no, I'm confusing stuff. God damn it.
Okay. Superman
Superman Superman.
Superman.
Yeah.
So,
well, I screwed up that joke. Moving on.
Yeah, right. Let's move on to The Flash.
Yeah.
The best show on TV. No, let's not go that far. I really like it.
I'll say I don't know. I would say it's my favorite show to watch currently.
It's almost always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Even the worst episode is still fun to watch.
Right, like this episode, which I'm not going to say it's a bad episode, but it wasn't all that super interesting.
No.
Do we want to talk about the most obvious part of this episode?
Start with the main spoiler first.
The big spoiler, warning.
Let's just dive in.
Savitar is Barry Allen.
Barry from the future, who, aside from having half his face scarred, looks exactly the same age as he does.
Right. So like this is so weird because it just makes me ask so many questions. Like what future is he from?
Is
he a time remnant? Like
that's the only thing that I could see about it making sense is he's a time remnant that
is he using the suit to survive because he's a time remnant, but then why wouldn't the time race be coming? So I guess like he can't really be a time remnant because those wraith things aren't coming after him
unless like half his face is scarred from a battle with a time wraith.
Maybe he defeated one.
Yeah, but there's just so much about that I don't really like. I trust the show because I've enjoyed everything they've done. My kind of hope is that they don't end the Savitar storyline, and because I don't want to see Iris die. I enjoy her character. I enjoy what they're doing with her and her and Barry. But what I'd like to see is have the Savitar thing just be like not like him coming back as a looming threat, but having Barry always know that he could turn into that at some point, have that be the looming threat, and be like motivation for, beyond the fact that he's just like a good guy, that, to make sure that he's always doing good. That I would like to see.
Yeah.
Because how do you be a future version of yourself that knows everything you're going to do that's also faster than you?
Well, he obviously has a weakness because he needs the suit, as they explained in, I can't really remember how they really explained why he needed it, but obviously he can't exist without it, or there's a problem for him to use the Speed Force or something without it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that I kind of take issue with, because wasn't it in an earlier episode, the one where they were getting into the backstory of Dr. Alchemy, where Julian was studying the Philosopher's Stone, and he knew about Savitar, and Savitar was an ancient speed god. He was
right.
So why is it now a future Barry when
Well,
it was already established that it was an ancient speed god that was the first one to tap into the Speed Force?
I mean, he must be then have gone way back in time somehow, and has been Savitar for a really, really long time, I suppose. I don't.
They do have.
I mean, he didn't age, but who cares? He doesn't have to age. Honestly, why would Barry age? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, if he has
he has like a regeneration power. So if you have regeneration, you're not going to age. You shouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, like Cisco and Julian and Joe and all of them, when he went to the future, they all should age. People noticeably age over the course of 7 years.
Yeah, yep, they should.
Yeah,
they should. But yeah, I mean, like, we don't know like what caused him to be evil. I mean, we're probably gonna find out, but I can't. I just don't feel like it's gonna be that interesting.
I don't understand, because what we know right now is that he.
I mean, is he
essentially what sets him down that path is Iris dying,
right?
But he's the one who kills Iris.
Yeah.
So all he has to do is not kill Iris. She stays around, and
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, like it's, and then it's just a non-thing. Like, why doesn't Barry just be like, "Hey, dude, just don't kill Iris, and we're good"?
Right. He's seemingly
like
causing the event that made him the way he is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a paradox. It's a huge paradox, and not that the show has ever cared about that.
Yeah, but it's also a paradox that doesn't make any sense.
Right. There's no motivation for him to want to do that. Why would he want to be the way he is?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to make sense. We'll know more, but I don't know. It's not super interesting to me.
I would say I do have to say I would love the idea if the whole reason why he recruited Caitlin as Killer Frost is because she's a doctor, and he's like, "Hey, can you do like some plastic surgery shit to the side of my face?" After that, we'll see. Maybe I'll let Vibe just like fry your brain, but
she makes a little ice scalpel. And,
yeah.
So yeah, Killer Frost. By the way, I still really don't understand the whole like personality change concept.
No, because you don't see that in any other meta.
No,
Cisco didn't change. Barry didn't change. Like Mirror Master, and like nobody's personality changed. Everybody, like everybody just kind of became, maybe like not even like a heightened version of themselves. They just embraced the change. I don't understand why psychologically she would all of a sudden just become evil.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense, especially because she has all of the memories. It's not like she doesn't know who she was and what she's done and who her friends are and all the people she's helped. Like, how does that just disappear? And you're like, oh no, I'm just Killer Frost. I'm just gonna go around saying Killer Frost. I'm Killer Frost. I'm Killer Frost. Like, she says it enough that makes her evil.
Yeah, and the only reason why she even calls herself that is because that's what her Earth 2 doppelganger was called. And I could have bought it if it was a matter of, Caitlin having a history of, you have little one asides where she's working at Star Labs because she can't practice medicine anymore because too many of her patients died, something like that, where, she was, she'd always would just justify it as like, oh, I was doing too many experimental surgeries or something like that. When in actuality she was like, I don't know, I just like opening people up, just like lay the groundwork, for her
Right.
being a serial killer.
Yeah, you
but
have
they
so
didn't
much
do that.
time with these characters. They could have done something to build this up more gradually, to make it believable that she had such a shift in her personality.
Yeah.
There's some actual specific reason, but the show really doesn't give you one.
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
that's problematic. Another little nitpick, as I always have here, is so.
Also, wait, really quick. This is how is Barry giving people superpowers?
Yeah, I don't know.
They have
he's
to-
an ancient.
They have
Speed
to
guy
address
now.
that.
I feel like they won't.
I
really feel like they
like
won't.
they're like, okay, it was before the hiatus. We don't have to address anything before
Right.
the hiatus. People aren't binge watching this, so we don't have to answer anything.
So
Sorry, your nitpick.
my little nitpick was
Aside from my nitpick.
you've got Wells talking to a blonde doctor. I call her. She's
Yeah.
blonde doctor from Scrubs.
No, she was.
No, she's not the same character, but I've seen actors.
No, she was the cutthroat bitch from House.
Okay. Yeah, no, but I'm saying that's how she acts. It's like she's doing an
yeah.
impression of that character a lot of times.
Yeah, Sarah Chalk.
Yeah.
Like,
But
Elliot Reed.
yeah, so they're in the cafe having coffee, and he's like, "Oh, what's wrong with my coffee?" And he turns it over, and it's a big ice cube coffee, and then he goes outside, and Killer Frost is outside somewhere, and I'm like, "What? She randomly freezes one cup of coffee in a room that she's not even in? When does this happen?"
Nobody noticed that the room got colder.
Yeah, right.
She got really good at her powers really fast.
It's the most ridiculous, like awful, like I don't know, what do you call it? Like it's not even a foreshadow. It's
It's just an indication.
Just an indicator
Yeah.
transition into this. I'm like, wow, that was so ham-fisted, like,
Yeah.
and ridiculous and silly. I'm like, why? I don't know. But on a good note, the awesome like Iceman Frozone like traveling on
Oh,
ice
yeah.
thing effect. The stuff CG was really cool,
Yeah.
and I did not expect to see that in this show.
No, and they made it super fun.
Yeah, well, that was fantastic.
Yeah. No, I love that.
More of that, like anywhere. Like I'm actually surprised that, and it's weird that we never really saw that with Iceman. Like
Yeah.
the X-Men movies didn't really give that a chance.
Days of Future Past, they did it.
Briefly, we
Briefly,
saw a
yeah.
little bit of it, but like we saw way more of it in this one episode
Yeah.
on a TV show than we ever did in the movies.
They've done a really good job at making the Flash feel as grounded as they need to, so that they can do all of the ridiculous comic booky stuff. And I think that's great. Like, where like, yeah, they can do that. The Iceman, like, like ice roller coaster, whatever you want to call it, the ice path. Or,
Yeah, it's hard to describe. But,
yeah,
but awesome when you know what it is.
yeah, like that's awesome that they did that, and let you buy that they do talking gorillas, and like all of that is.
That's what makes the Flash so
Yeah.
great. Like you
They
get to
found-
see.
they
I
have
mean,
that
Killer. You got King Shark in there. I mean, God, that was
Which
fantastic.
you buy, and
Right.
you're like, yeah, it's King Shark, and that looks perfectly normal in this universe that they set up, and they just kind of like slowly amped up to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great how they did it. Like,
All right, so with that, I think we're gonna come to a close here.
Yeah.
I think that's the show.
I think so.
I think we did a good job there.
Yeah, if we don't mind patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
But-
I don't know if you have any final thing you want to say.
I hope that someday I find a way to enjoy Shield again.
There we go, and that is something that everyone should try to do.
'Cause I'm the eternal optimist of the two.
So with that, I think we'll bring episode 0 of the Superhero's Journey to a close. And of course, my name is Carl Fiemerman and
Brian Shores.
Brian Shores. And just remember, if you like the show, you can write to us on or find us on Twitter at Superhero Journey. That's a no E in super. And write to us at thesuperheroesjourney@gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. See you next week.